A lie to Congress is not a matter of political opinion. That is a crime.
This prosecution of me and those of many others has been a mockery of law enforcement and of justice.
President Bush lets Iran-Contra figures off the hook. The military makes tracks in Somalia's countryside, and some snapshots of winter with all the trimmings. CNN Headline News, I'm David Goodnow. President Bush issued 24 pardons today, some for offenses dating back to the 1940s, but several more were current and controversial. He pardoned 6 former administration officials for their alleged roles in the Iran-Contra affair. Jill Doherty reports that has some critics crying cover-up.
Mr. Bush granted executive clemency to 6 public officials involved in the Iran-Contra affair. Former Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger, former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane, Elliott Abrams, a former Assistant Secretary of State, Claire George, former CIA Head of Covert Operations, and 2 other former CIA officials, Dwayne Claridge and Alan Fires. In a written statement, Mr. Bush called Weinberger a true American patriot and said all 6 men, regardless of whether their actions were right or wrong, had acted out of patriotic motives, not seeking to profit from their conduct. Weinberger, who was scheduled to go on trial January 5th, said he was certain he would have been acquitted, and he lashed out at Special Prosecutor Lawrence Walsh, who had indicted him.
It was a grotesque use of this really very dangerous power that marked the reign of Mr. Walsh. Even though the most significant charges of obstruction of Congress, lying to Congress, were thrown right out by the judge, the independent counsel continued to pursue me.
Walsh struck back, claiming that Weinberger should face a jury, that he had tried to conceal his notes on the Iran-Contra affair, and that action was part of a pattern of deception and obstruction permeating the highest levels of the Reagan and Bush administrations. Walsh added that President Bush might have been a witness in a Weinberger trial.
In light of President Bush's own misconduct, we are gravely concerned by his decision to pardon others who lied to Congress and obstructed official investigation.
Weinberger's notes appeared to undermine statements by President Bush that he was not in the loop on details of the arms for hostages deal. Weinberger's second indictment came October 30th, just 4 days before Election Day. Elliott Abrams, one of those pardons, said he thought the president took the action because the case had been politicized.
I guess he was really angry at Walsh for what he saw and I see as an effort to throw the election to Clinton.
Bill Clinton criticized the pardons while admitting he didn't have all the facts yet. Weinberger's requesting that all of his notes on the Iran-Contra affair be released to the public. The president wants the special prosecutor to give him copies of his own testimony so that he, too, can release that to the public. Jill Doherty, CNN, the White House.
President Bush has said all along he was out of the loop in the Iran-Contra decision-making. Special Prosecutor Lawrence Walsh cast more doubt on that today. He claims Mr. Bush kept notes about the arms for hostages deal, and he said despite repeated requests, investigators weren't told about the notes until December 11th. They are still being examined. The starting lineup is complete for the Clinton administration. The president-elect announced his last 4 cabinet nominations today and also filled a couple of other key positions. The General Counsel of Aetna Life Insurance, Zoe Baird, is his choice for Attorney General. Former Arizona Governor Bruce Babbitt is nominated for Interior Secretary. Mississippi's Mike Espy would leave Congress to oversee the Department of Agriculture. Former Denver Mayor Federico Pena was Clinton's choice for Transportation Secretary. The Clinton campaign chairman, Mickey Cantor, would become trade representative, and Arkansas Health Director Joycelyn Elders is in line to become Surgeon General. The president-elect explains why he wants Baird as Attorney General.
She is tough, tenacious, and gifted. She's a very, very able manager who has proven that she can resolve difficult cases and bring order to complex organizations. She pulls no punches, and I have discovered in this process that those who have been in combat with her leave the encounter respecting her even more. I believe that the nation's first woman Attorney General will be one of the best Attorneys General in the history of this nation.
In the afternoon, the president-elect took daughter Chelsea shopping in Arkansas's capital. For their stops included a bookstore, sporting goods store, and a Little Rock mall. Multinational forces in Somalia are extending their search into more cities. U.S. Marines rolled into the town of Bardare on Thursday after a long and dangerous trip from Baidoa. The Marines occupied the airport and set up camp. Bardare's permanent population of 7,000 has more than quadrupled with refugees from the famine. 400 Marines and French legionnaires are scheduled to arrive shortly in another town, Houdour. That community has virtually been destroyed by looters. Troops held an impromptu midnight mass on the outskirts of town, trying to get into the Christmas spirit despite being thousands of miles from home. Gene Randall reports.
There are more than 11,000 American troops on the ground here in Somalia, the bulk of them Marines. 8,600 sailors are stationed offshore. Most never dreamed of spending Christmas in a place like this, and it is tough.
Well, my kids are used to it, but that doesn't make it easier.
It's different, a lot different too. It's dirty. We're ready to go home already.
Still, there is a noticeable effort to make the best of it. This was the scene in the rubble of the U.S. Embassy compound on Thursday. At Mogadishu Airport, meanwhile, there were new arrivals on Christmas Eve, and they too adopted the spirit of the season. On the charter flight that carried the Marines to the Somali capital came a supply of Christmas cheer, including 2 Christmas trees and 40 cases of cookies. In a country 99% Sunni Muslim, you don't pull up to a Christmas tree lot, then pick up holiday cookies on the way home. It is part of the Christmas disorientation here. Most U.S. troops will have another day of packaged food on Christmas, much of it dehydrated. MREs, meals ready to eat.
Pretty much just eat a ham slice MRE and hang around here for a little while.
A military spokesman on Thursday tried to shoot down a report that 20,000 special turkey meals were being flown in.
We have chosen specifically not to bump higher priority cargo in order to bring in special meals.
But the hardship aside, the fact is Christmas in a strange land is Christmas nonetheless.
A poor baby waits.
And American troops in Somalia have not forgotten that. This was the scene on Christmas Eve at the port of Mogadishu.
And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing.
Gene Randall, CNN, Mogadishu.
The White House is denying reports that a summit is planned between President Bush and Russian President Boris Yeltsin just after New Year's. Russia's Interfax news service said the leaders will sign a START II arms reduction treaty. Secretary of State Lawrence Eagleburger will meet with Russia's foreign minister in Geneva Sunday to try to wrap up the deal. Israeli troops wounded 8 Palestinians in clashes in the occupied territories today. Protests have been heating up since Israel deported 415 Palestinians allegedly linked to Islamic fundamentalist groups a week ago. In southern Lebanon, those deportees spent the day fasting to conserve meager food supplies. They're out of water. Israel and Lebanon each claim the other is responsible for the care of the deportees. Tension from the stalemate is apparent in the West Bank town of Bethlehem. Security forces outnumber tourists for much of the day in Bethlehem's Manger Square, believed to be the birthplace of Jesus. A Latin patriarch of Jerusalem appealed to Jews, Muslims, and Christians to break the cycle of violence. United Nations peacekeepers say authorities in Bosnia and Herzegovina have given their approval to an evacuation of civilians from Sarajevo. 1,500 Muslims, Croats, and Serbs will be allowed to depart the embattled capital, but there's no word on how or when the evacuation will take place. In Sarajevo, Christmas Eve was marred by scattered gunfire. A British soldier was injured by flying shrapnel while on duty with UN forces. Fighting was reported throughout the republic. The fate of 180 Chinese refugees rescued off the San Francisco coast this week remains uncertain. As Rusty Dornan reports, authorities now suspect their journey had links to organized crime.
The parents of 17-year-old Min Chu Zhang dreamed of sending their son to the Golden Mountain, the Chinese term for America. But instead, he and 179 others spent 7 weeks locked in hell on a freighter on the high seas.
We are, be put in the bowl like a sardine. The bowl very stinky, very dirty.
Most of the passengers paid thousands of dollars to sail to the land of opportunity. Chu Dong was told he would work in a restaurant in New York. But the FBI and immigration officials are investigating whether the trip was organized by Asian gangs. If so, the ship passengers thought would take them to freedom instead might have sold them into slavery.
And this is speculative, but it's likely they'd go to New York where there's a big Fukinese population. And they would go in there and they'd probably be put to work in prostitution, in handling narcotics trafficking, in loan sharking activity.
And it's Chinese guys. They're smuggling Chinese aliens.
At least 4 human smuggling cases have been investigated in the United States recently. Authorities believe Asian gangs organized a shipment of human cargo in Southern California earlier this year. 40 immigrants were to be sent to New York to pay off their smuggling debts. Authorities say immigrants may cooperate out of fear.
If it's an organized crime thing, is there the potential for something being done to you here? But there's also a hostage consideration in that you have family at home.
These teenagers knew nothing of servitude. They left family and friends and poverty for what they hoped would be a better life. For now, 10 of these teenagers call a San Francisco hotel room home. 170 adults are being detained in correctional centers until the INS determines whether they will be granted political asylum. But the boys here are worried.
The policy in China changed, and they will be put into jail. That would make them very scared.
Rusty Dornan for CNN, San Francisco.
In Cincinnati, Ku Klux Klan members have put up a new cross in a downtown square. It replaces their first cross, which was erected on Monday, then torn down hours later by protesters. The city authorized the cross on the basis of religious freedom. The square already holds Christmas trees and a menorah. By planes, trains, buses, and cars, Americans have been heading to Grandma's house and everywhere else, it seems, for the holidays. Travel industry analysts say this season will be nearly as busy as 1989 before the recession set in. Many train stations and airports report business is brisk, and they're bracing for an even brisker, busier day on January 3rd, the Sunday after New Year's. Well, for Christmas, Christine Davis got a cat. It's the cat she'd been looking for more than a year. In October 1991, Davis' house burned down in a fire that swept through Oakland, California. Her cat, Disney, was lost in the panic. And 10 days ago, she got a call from a group that reunites pets and fire victims. Disney had been found in a Berkeley animal shelter. Disney was hours away from being put to sleep. Coming up in Headline Consumer News, eggs without cholesterol sounds too good to be true. We'll tell you whether it is. And later, Christmas traditions in America's heartland.
That's what 40 Christmas is. Santa came to say.
Checking Christmas Day temperatures. Cold in the north, cool across much of the south. A cold Yuletide in the Rocky Mountain region and the Dakotas.
This is CNN Headline News.
What do men really want for Christmas?
Oh, you know what I like.
When it comes to getting a gift for the man on your list, surprise me. Does this sound familiar? This Christmas, give him the gift you can be sure he'll love. 2 hot sports music videos presented by Sports Illustrated, NFL Rocks and NBA Superstars 2. They're both free with your paid gift subscription to Sports Illustrated.
Rock and roll, baby, rock and roll.
With NFL Rocks, he'll get his favorite football action, moving to the music of artists like John Mellencamp, Elton John, and Bon Jovi. And the action doesn't stop there. Because NBA Superstars 2 gives him the jams, the moves, the shots that rock the season. All set to the beat of today's hottest sounds. Both videos are yours free when you call this toll-free Christmas hotline and surprise him all year long with 54 issues of Sports Illustrated, the best way to get inside the action for over 20 million readers, filled with inside info and unexpected angles.
It's a new gift every week.
Now yours for just $1.39 an issue. Even put it on a credit card. He'll love the exclusive previews, the 93 swimsuit issues. Plus, he'll get 2 free videos that score big with music and action. Right now, you can get Sports Illustrated at over 50% off the cover price. It's like getting half a year free. For faster delivery, use your credit card. So call now.
Hello? Sports Illustrated.
So while he may not come right out and tell you what he wants for Christmas,
Let me get back to you.
I don't know, getting him the perfect gift at the right price couldn't be easier.
Mom, Sports Illustrated. You read my mind. Sports Illustrated. How'd you know? Just call now.
For the first time in 4 years, retailers say they have had a good holiday season. Millions of Americans squeezed in one last shopping spree Thursday. The big-ticket items were reportedly on the list of many shoppers this year. Toys R Us says it sold numerous video games, including Super Nintendo starter systems. Sears also reported strong sales of expensive items like home electronics and computers. The recession may be over, but many charitable organizations are still pinching their pennies. One survey shows donations by individuals are down 20% this year, the first decline in 20 years, and corporations also are giving less. Charity workers say people may be responding to reports of high salaries and luxuries at the United Way. They look like eggs, and the commercials say they taste like eggs, but Eggland Incorporated said its best are much healthier than the originals. Some officials, though, say their logic is scrambled. Elizabeth Schwartz sorts it out.
In the supermarket, eggs look pretty much like eggs. So what's with this one with the monogram?
You can eat eggs again. No, wait. Poached. And not increase your serum cholesterol.
For years, Americans have been wary of eggs because they're high in cholesterol. Health authorities say don't eat more than 4 eggs a week.
Eggland's best. Now you can eat real eggs again.
Now the Eggland Company says its eggs don't raise cholesterol as much as other eggs. But the Center for Science and the Public Interest and attorneys general from 13 states don't believe it. They're asking the Eggland Company of Pennsylvania to take these ads off the air.
Here's a company that's going out and telling people it's okay to eat a food that's high in cholesterol, that it will not increase their cholesterol level, it won't increase their risk of heart disease, and it's really putting people's health in danger.
Eggland spent 4 years and millions of dollars designing ways to feed hens that would produce a different kind of egg. But now it's agreed to temporarily take these ads off the air. In a clinical trial conducted by the company, 98 participants with relatively high cholesterol were put on a low-fat diet. Half were told to eat no eggs, and the other half were told to eat 12 Eggland eggs a week. After 6 weeks, both groups had about an 8 to 10% drop in cholesterol.
Those who enjoy eggs and who have given them up because of cholesterol reasons, because their doctor said, go on a low-fat diet and eliminate eggs, now can come back to eating Eggland's best eggs and not compromise any low-fat diet.
But critics say the Eggland study applied only to people on low-fat diets, and that statistically most Americans eat a lot of fat. Also, the company never actually compared their eggs to other eggs. Eggland says it will continue negotiating with authorities to get some kind of advertising back on the air. Elizabeth Schwartz, CNN, Atlanta.
Some economists say the latest data on joblessness confirms the U.S. economy is recovering only gradually. The government reports initial claims for unemployment benefits rose 12,000 to 360,000 in the second week of December. Some analysts had expected a slight dip. Closely watched 4-week floating average did drop. The Queen Mary will continue to reign in Long Beach, California, tied up at the dock. The famous luxury liner has been a money-losing tourist attraction, but the city council voted to take over operation of the big ship from the harbor department. That group wanted to sell it to a Hong Kong company for $20 million. CNN Headlines Sports is up next.
This is CNN Headline News.
Did you know that watching tropical fish can help lower your blood pressure? Did you know that it's possible to stop a migraine headache just by repeating one soothing word? That listening to music can actually help stop chronic back pain? How many times have you heard the expression, it's all in your mind? Well, it's true. Your mind has the power to heal your body. Medical research has shown over and over again that your attitudes and emotions directly affect your health and well-being. Hi, I'm Russ Wild, Senior Editor of Prevention Magazine Health Books. Now you can learn how to release the tremendous healing power that's locked inside you, as documented by doctors and medical researchers all across America. It's all here in the complete guide to your emotions and your health from Prevention Magazine Health Books. Over 650 pages of proven natural healing techniques covering everything from asthma to arthritis, allergies to ulcers. Now you can learn to think yourself thin. An amazing process where your mind triggers weight loss by visualizing your new, thinner body. Or a simple deep breathing method that works better than sleeping pills. Even how the right light can help end depression and anxiety.
Call now for the complete guide to your emotions and your health. Try it absolutely free for 21 days. If you choose to keep it, pay in 3 easy installments of only $8.99.
And as a free gift, you'll get this special Stress Busters audio cassette. This 40-minute tape will help you instantly relax, give you new energy, and a wonderful sense of inner peace.
Remember, you can try the complete guide to your emotions and your health free for 21 days. And the Stress Busters cassette is yours to keep.
Want to learn how laughter can keep you healthy? How lovemaking can help stop arthritis pain? Then call now for the complete guide to your emotions and your health.
Call 1-800-942-2300, 1-800-942-2300.
I'm Anthony Keith James, and this is CNN Headline Sports. According to a High Point TV station, Penn State assistant Jim Caldwell will take over the reins at Wake Forest, replacing Coach Bill Dooley. Caldwell, an assistant under Joe Paterno for 7 years, will be the first black head coach in the ACC in 40 years. Caldwell has been in charge of Penn State's quarterback and passing game. The Aloha Bowl gets underway Christmas Day between 8-4 Brigham Young and 7-4 Kansas. The Jayhawks are making their first bowl appearance since losing to Mississippi State in the Hall of Fame Bowl in 1981. They're averaging just under 32 points a game. Some say Brigham Young will be at a disadvantage because they will be starting their 4th quarterback of the season. Tom Young, brother of 49ers quarterback Steve Young, will be calling the signals. He will have to rely on his running attack that has racked up over 1,900 yards and 17 TDs. Veteran forward Kenny Gaddison and the Charlotte Hornets reaching an agreement on a long-term contract extension. No terms were released. Gaddison is 28 and is in his 4th season with the Hornets, becoming the team's all-time leader in block shots with 183. Thursday, the Oakland A's got free agent first baseman Mark McGwire to agree to a new 5-year deal, which carries him through the 97 season. No financial terms were released, but word through the grapevine has it as a $28 million contract with a $7 million signing bonus. McGwire hit .268 last season, driving in 104 runs, and finished second for Juan Gonzalez of the Texas Rangers for the Major League home run lead with 42, despite missing 20 games with a muscle strain. The LA Dodgers and the Montreal Expos made a Christmas Eve trade, the Dodgers grabbing third baseman Tim Wallach from the Expos in exchange for a minor league player. The 35-year-old Wallach hit .223 with 9 home runs and 59 RBI. Anthony Keith James, CNN Headline Sports.
This is CNN Headline News.
Lots of credit cards will give you a cash advance, but there could be a catch. Interest charges. Some credit cards charge them from day one, which is why you should use the Discover card. Pay your full monthly balance and a small transaction fee, and we'll give you a cash advance interest-free. How does that grab you? It pays to Discover.
I don't know how to say, words, no, what's the word? It's not coming out right.
It's easier done than said. Let someone know you're thinking about them. Call 1-800-FLOWERS. Our name is our number. We'll deliver beautiful flowers anywhere to anyone, guaranteed. All you need is a credit card and a telephone for FTD service.
1-800-FLOWERS. Carol Lee speaking.
Yeah, would you
Call 1-800-FLOWERS for all your special occasions.
32 Lebanese children are getting a tour of the United States from a man once held hostage in their country. Joseph Sicipio is chaperoning the children on a 13-day trip, which includes visits to the White House, the Rose Parade, and Disneyland. First, they went to Philadelphia for medical exams. Some of the children are orphans. Many bear both the physical and emotional scars of war. In New York, a unique Christmas service for families and their pets. The Christmas legend says animals at the manger were the first to see the baby Jesus. So on Christmas Eve, the city's Central Presbyterian Church blesses a variety of pets, even the stuffed variety, and their owners. Pope John Paul II led a midnight mass from St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. 10,000 people gathered for the ceremony. Millions more watched it live on television. In his sermon, the Roman Catholic pontiff urged Christians to pray for world peace, and he blessed his followers in more than 50 languages. One prayer was read in Croatian in a reference to the war in what was Yugoslavia. A prayer for children was read in Somali. If Santa needs some new little helpers this year, he may find some willing participants at a hospital in Houston. They're a little bit young, but they certainly look the part. Hospital workers dressed the newborn babies in Christmas costumes Thursday and took some pictures. No doubt parents and St. Nick will be duly impressed. Different cities celebrate Christmas in their own unique ways, but some traditions transcend city limits, from festive store windows to a sitting with Santa. Here's a look at the sights and sounds of Christmas in Chicago.
I'd like to get a car and a motorcycle.
I get to give Santa a hug. Sure. Okay.
That's what 40 Christmas Eve Santa came to say. Rudolph, with your nose so bright, what inside my sleigh tonight? And how the reindeer loved him. They began to shout with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer will go down in history.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, however you say it. Buon Natale, Feliz Navidad, Godieu, Joyeux Noël, Fröhliche Weihnachten, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm David Goodnow. This is CNN Headline News.
This is CNN Headline News.
They've got their lists. They're checking it twice. They're going to tell you the plays that have been, oh, so nice. Nick and Fred in the Play of the Year Christmas Show on Sports Tonight, Friday night at 11 Eastern on CNN.
On CNN Headline News tonight, the nation hasn't been in a very good mood, but since the election, have attitudes changed? People seem to be more optimistic. What's cheering them up? On CNN Headline News tonight.
From CNN, this is Headline News.
Do you realize just how much difference there is in life insurance rates from one insurance company to the next? For instance, if you're in good health and don't smoke cigarettes, Garden State Life Insurance may be able to save you as much as 50% off the cost of your life insurance. That's right, 30, 40, 50% off what you'd have to pay for a comparable amount of coverage elsewhere. And not just this month, but year after year for the rest of your life. Savings like that are well worth looking into. So if you need $100,000 to $1 million or more of quality term life insurance, you owe it to yourself to get the facts fast by calling now for this free information package, including a personal coverage proposal that shows you just how much your savings might be. There's no obligation, no sales pressure, and it could be a real eye-opener. 800-257-1333 toll-free. 257-1333. Call Garden State Life Insurance today. 257-1333.
CNN Headline News. I'm David Goodnow. The Iran-Contra special prosecutor had a spotty record in obtaining convictions, but he won't even get a chance to try against former Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger. Today, President Bush issued Weinberger a pardon, meaning his trial, scheduled for January, now won't be necessary. Weinberger was charged with lying to Congress about his notes on the illegal diversion to Nicaraguan rebels of profits from arms sales to Iran. Weinberger and the president say prosecutors tried to criminalize policy disputes.
The record of the independent counsel, Mr. Walsh, in this whole matter has been dismal, but he has been much more successful in doing great damage to innocent individuals and their families. And it's too bad that the $40 or $50 million that he spent in these political cases could not have been spent in prosecuting real criminals who committed real crimes which caused real damage to many citizens.
Special Prosecutor Walsh denies charges he was motivated by politics. He claims today's pardon completed a cover-up which involved former President Reagan and his top national security advisors.
President Bush's pardon of Caspar Weinberger and other Iran-Contra defendants undermines the principle that no man is above the law. It demonstrates that powerful people with powerful allies can commit serious crimes in high office, deliberately abusing the public trust without consequences.
Walsh also accused Mr. Bush of misconduct for waiting allegedly until this month to provide investigators with notes he took on the arms for hostages deal. President Bush also pardoned 5 other figures in the Iran-Contra affair, saying they were all distinguished public servants who'd acted out of patriotism. Besides Weinberger, they were Reagan National Security Advisor Robert McFarland, former CIA official Claire George, former Assistant Secretary of State Elliott Abrams, and CIA officials Dwayne Claridge and Alan Fires. Claridge had yet to go to trial. The others had been convicted or pleaded guilty in plea bargains. President-elect Bill Clinton said he's concerned the pardon signal that government employees are beyond the law. The president-elect said he's pleased with the diversity of his cabinet appointments. Thursday, Clinton announced nominees for the remaining posts in his cabinet. The Connecticut lawyer, Zoe Baird, was tapped for Attorney General. If confirmed by the Senate, she would be the first woman ever to hold that top job. Former Arizona Governor Bruce Babbitt has been chosen Secretary of the Interior. Mississippi Congressman Mike Espy is slated to become Agriculture Secretary, making him the 4th black in Clinton's cabinet. The 2nd Hispanic, former Denver Mayor Federico Pena, will head up the Transportation Department. Also named Thursday, campaign chairman Mickey Cantor as U.S. Trade Representative, and Arkansas Health Director Dr. Joycelyn Elders as Surgeon General. Clinton's nominee for Attorney General, Zoe Baird, is expected to depart from policies traditionally dominating the Justice Department. As Bob Franken reports, that's partly, but not solely, because she is a woman.
Under attorneys general in 2 Republican administrations, the Justice Department has resisted the abortion rights and civil rights groups, the environmental activists and gun control activists. For 12 years, the Justice Department has pushed the conservative agenda, blocked the liberal. Now that should change.
Insofar as the policy of the administration can be properly put forward, you know, I think, based on my campaign where I stand, I'm strong for individual rights, pro-choice.
Friends of Zoe Baird say the newly designated Attorney General is extremely cautious, as her non-committal public comments attest.
This is really not the opportunity for me to discuss policy matters, but there will be time for that.
The Attorney General oversees the federal government's legal agenda, court arguments, judicial appointments, prosecutions, and, of course, law enforcement.
There will be some changes of emphasis. I think there will be less reliance on enforcement through traditional police techniques in the crime area, although that will not be abandoned.
I believe that the nation's first woman Attorney General will be one of the best Attorneys General in the history of this nation.
Much was made of the fact Bill Clinton had designated the Attorney General slot as a female appointment. A top woman in the Reagan Justice Department thought That would mean significant change.
And it is a message to a lot of people that in the most important cabinet positions, that which has always been a male position of the roughness, toughness, that there will be a woman, and there will be a whole new attitude toward women in the law enforcement area.
What many legal scholars expect is a whole new attitude toward many parts of the law. That, in effect, was a campaign promise of Bill Clinton. Bob Franken, CNN, Little Rock.
A White House spokesman said President Bush hopes to conclude a nuclear arms agreement with Russia before leaving office next month, but there are no guarantees. High-level U.S. and Russian negotiators will meet next week to hammer out differences on the START II treaty. Thursday, Mr. Bush spoke by phone to Russian President Boris Yeltsin, but the White House denied reports from Moscow that the treaty will be signed at a summit just after New Year's Day. U.S. Marines are rolling into Bardere, Somalia. The first military vehicles entered the city early Friday. Bardere's population has tripled in recent months as rural residents come in search of food. Thursday, Marines set up camp at a dirt airstrip just outside Bardere. As with other Somali cities, the military moved in without confrontation. The next assignment is Hodor, northeast of Bardere. French and U.S. personnel should enter shortly. Although Somalia is an Islamic country, armed forces from the U.S. and Europe are marking Christmas. Some military personnel attended services in Mogadishu today. Others sang and set up makeshift Christmas trees. Some critics call the holiday celebrations inappropriate given the bleak conditions around them. Israeli troops wounded 8 Palestinians in clashes in the occupied territories today. Protests have been heating up since Israel deported 415 Palestinians, allegedly linked to Islamic fundamentalist groups, 1 week ago. In southern Lebanon, those deportees spent the day fasting to conserve their meager food supplies. They're now out of water. Israel and Lebanon each claim the other is responsible for the care of the deportees. Tension from the stalemate is apparent in the West Bank town of Bethlehem. Security forces outnumber tourists for much of the day in Bethlehem's Manger Square, believed to be the birthplace of Jesus. The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem appealed to Jews, Muslims, and Christians to break the cycle of violence. The leader of Serbian guerrillas in Bosnia and Herzegovina wants some UN peacekeepers replaced. He says personnel from NATO countries are biased against Serbs. NATO has plans to toughen a ban on military flights over Bosnia. But Simon Cumbers reports its implementation remains a sticky issue.
With the United Nations Security Council still without a firm resolution to enforce its no-fly zone over Bosnia, Serbian leader Radovan Karadzic has warned against defensive action on his planes. The United States has said that if it's asked to police Bosnian skies, planes from all sides in the war will be open to attack in the air and on the ground. At the request of the UN, NATO has already drawn up a number of options for action, but there are signs of disagreement within the Security Council. Unlike the United States, both Britain and France have peacekeeping ground troops on Bosnia, and it's feared that they will be seen as new aggressors in the region if aircraft are attacked.
Security and safety of British troops is our paramount consideration. Second to that is the delivery of humanitarian supplies, and we will only take such action as is absolutely essential and commensurate. But United Nations resolutions must be respected.
Meanwhile, Sarajevo is preparing for a tense Christmas, with few holding out much hope for promises of yet another ceasefire. On the stalls in the city's market are the usual selection of Christmas fare, plus the less friendly reminders of 8 months of hostility. This may be a season of goodwill, but throughout Bosnia, the war is continuing. Yesterday, Muslim forces celebrated the recapture of the northern village of Vojoskia, increasing their squeeze on Serbian supply lines. If the UN goes ahead with enforcing its no-fly zone, it'll put even more pressure on the Serbian war machine.
Pope John Paul II led a midnight mass from St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. 10,000 people gathered for the ceremony. Millions more watched it live on television. In his sermon, the Roman Catholic pontiff urged Christians to pray for world peace, and he blessed his followers in more than 50 languages. One prayer was read in Croatian in reference to the war in what was Yugoslavia. A prayer for children was read in Somali. In Cincinnati, Ku Klux Klan members have put a new cross up on a downtown square. It replaces their first cross, which was erected Monday and torn down hours later by protesters. The city authorized the cross on the basis of religious freedom. The square already holds Christmas trees and a menorah. By planes, trains, buses, and cars, Americans have been heading to Grandma's house and elsewhere over the holidays. Travel industry analysts say this season will be nearly as busy as 1989 before the recession set in. Many train stations and airports report brisk business. They're bracing for an even busier day, January 3rd, the Sunday after New Year's. Sick kids have it tough any time of the year, but holiday time is especially hard to spend in the hospital. Andrew Holtz reports on what some people are doing to help.
Santa, we're going to put Rebecca on the phone with you, and your mama's holding her. Here we go.
Rebecca.
Did you say Merry Christmas?
Here comes Santa Claus, not down the chimney, but over video phone from a playroom at Eggleston Children's Hospital in Atlanta. He's taking toy orders with the help of AT&T Network Systems, Bell South Telecommunications, and Southern Bell.
The kids and see the enjoyment on their faces brings us a lot of satisfaction that we can do this on the holiday season. Of course, there's a civic responsibility that we have that's very important, that we want to make a contribution to the area where we work, and this is a way that we do that.
Santa Claus, we're going to put Angela on the phone. She may be a little hard to hear. She's on a respirator.
They don't have a lot of choices with all the medical procedures going on. So it's a time where they get some independence and get to make some choices. And again, I couldn't do that for every child without the help of the volunteers. It really makes an immeasurable difference.
Santa, I'm going to put you on the speakerphone, and here's Nicholas.
Christmas.
Christmas time, it's not one of the best times in the world to be in the hospital and have major surgery. And this has been a real rough surgery on him, and he hasn't smiled much. He hadn't felt real well. And just to see the smile on his face makes Christmas season more special this year.
When you make it a fun atmosphere in which they can enjoy and feel comfortable and know all the people, it makes it a better healing, a quicker healing place, too.
But this volunteer effort's hardly all high-tech. It's also high-touch, with volunteer clowns from the Telephone Pioneers of America giving the gift of time.
They light up so much to see us, and I guess they don't realize that they have a problem, and that's something they've always dealt with, and they're just happy to see a clown.
Volunteers bringing the holidays to the hospital to kids who are hurting. Andrew Holtz, CNN Medical News.
Coming up in Headline Consumer News, a Christmas tradition, last-minute shopping. And later, the Muppets return.
Magic in the air. The world is at her best, you know, when people love and care. The promise of excitement.
Checking Christmas Day temperatures. Cold in the north, cool across much of the south. A cold Yuletide in the Rocky Mountain region and the Dakotas.
This is CNN Headline News.
If you haven't talked to your kids about drugs, make an appointment.
Yo, Mom, you want to see me?
And if you don't know what to say, ask us. For a free parent's guide to drug prevention, call 1-800-624-0100.
Do your holiday shopping with the Discover card, and you'll not only give, you'll receive a cashback bonus for every charge. It pays to Discover.
When it comes to asking men what they want for Christmas, surprise me.
Oh, you know what I like.
I don't need anything. Does this sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
This year, give him 2 hot sports music videos presented by Sports Illustrated, NFL Rocks, and NBA Superstars 2. They're both free with your paid gift subscription to Sports Illustrated. NFL Rocks is loaded with his favorite football hits, set to the beat of some of rock's top artists. And NBA Superstars 2 gives him basketball's best, moving to today's hottest sounds. Just call and surprise him with 54 issues of Sports Illustrated. Now yours for just $1.39 an issue. Save over 50% off the cover price.
He's gonna love this.
Plus, get 2 great sports music videos free. For faster delivery, use your credit card. So while he may not tell you what he wants for Christmas, I don't know, getting him the perfect gift couldn't be easier. Sports Illustrated. How'd you know? Just call now.
Let someone know you're thinking about them. Call 1-800-Flowers. Our name is our number. We'll deliver beautiful flowers anywhere to anyone, guaranteed. All you need is a credit card and a telephone for FTD service. Call 1-800-Flowers for all your special occasions.
More Americans filed new claims for jobless benefits in mid-December. That's according to a report released by the Labor Department on Thursday. 360,000 people filed new applications for unemployment insurance during the week ending December 12th. That's 12,000 more than the week before. Some analysts say the increase, which was not expected, reinforces the belief that economic recovery will be slow. Retailers rang up a flurry of last-minute sales on Christmas Eve. For some shoppers, waiting until the last minute is in itself a Christmas tradition. Gary Tuckman takes a look.
For many people, shopping is a fun, carefree experience. But on Christmas Eve, it's not for the faint of heart.
It's too crowded, too hectic. People are rude. It's a mess.
6 o'clock is the hour the Christmas shopping season all comes to an end in this New York City mall. So the bewitching hour has now arrived. It is literally the last hour of shopping. The word frantic was invented for times like this. Not that store managers are upset about it.
You'd think we're giving a party. It's fantastic, the number of people are flocking.
No, you're not going to fall asleep today, that's for sure. One other thing that's for sure is the reason most people end up in this last hour predicament.
Because I waited too long to do my shopping.
You're a procrastinator.
Definitely.
Of course, not everybody who shops the last hour is a procrastinator. Some just realize they forgot a gift or two. But others are just plain masochists.
It's an adventure. It's a challenge. Yeah.
I like the crowd. I like everyone's in the Christmas spirit. It's fun.
And with all the company shoppers have in the last hour, you'll never know who you'll meet. Little Rock, Arkansas's Park Plaza Mall had a fairly well-known last-minute shopper. But whether you're a future president or just an ordinary resident, what matters is getting there before they start closing the doors. Because frantic or not, getting the presents you'll need for the next day is the key. Gary Tuckman, CNN, New York.
A maker of stuffed toys is finding plusher times this Christmas thanks to some well-known animals. Deccan Incorporated is using stuffed likenesses of animals from movies and TV shows to regain a leading share of the market estimated at $1 billion. Among the new favorites, Barney the dinosaur and Toonces the driving cat. Recession may be over, but many charitable organizations are still pinching their pennies. One survey shows donations by individuals down 20% this year, the first decline in 20 years. Corporations also are giving less. Charity workers say people may be responding to reports of high salaries and luxuries at the United Way. Supermarket checkout clerks may become a thing of the past, or things of the past, if a Florida company has its way. UniQuest is test-marketing an automated checkout counter. The shoppers place their groceries on a conveyor belt. The scanner displays the price. It's announced by a computer-generated voice. Computers. UniQuest said the automated checkout counter cuts the time that shoppers spend waiting in the line. But there's one hitch. You have to bag your own. CNN Headline Sports up next.
This is CNN Headline News.
To achieve your ultimate potential, we introduce the Nordic Flex Gold, the breakthrough in strength training technology that makes all other machines obsolete, including SoloFlex. Nordic Flex Gold is 5 ways better than SoloFlex. Nordic Flex Gold simulates the linear motion of free weights, maximizing your workout. In contrast, SoloFlex uses a less effective arcing motion, which can pull your body out of the correct workout position. Nordic Flex Gold has isokinetic resistance to match your natural strength curve. Your body is stronger at certain points of the stroke,
and weaker at others. The isokinetic resistance of Nordic Flex Gold accommodates these differences, supplying the most resistance when you are strongest and the least when you are weakest. So you get maximum resistance throughout the entire range of motion and maximum results. On a Solo Flex, the resistance simply increases as the rubber band stretches. It does not match your natural strength curve, so your workout is less efficient. Nordic Flex Gold's isokinetic resistance also gives you speed and convenience. You quickly move between exercises without changing steel plates or rubber bands. With Nordic Flex Gold, changeover between exercises is up to 40% faster than Solo Flex. Nordic Flex Gold provides a workout designed by experts. Correct form is laid out in a convenient manual, wall chart, and a full-length workout video. There is no guesswork. And Nordic Flex Gold is a better value. Nordic Flex Gold costs only $999 complete. A Solo Flex costs $1,000, and to get the leg and butterfly attachments costs you an extra $500. Nordic Flex Gold, a better workout, faster and more effective for 1/3 less money. The comparison is clear, the choice is obvious. Call now to order your Nordic Flex Gold, the ultimate strength training machine for the ultimate body.
Steve Wrigley, CNN, Headline Sports. A happy holiday to you and yours. No games on Thursday's schedule, but the news continues. Mark McGwire won't find a new uniform under the tree. The Oakland A's signed the slugger to a 5-year deal. No numbers were announced, but get a load of the year McGwire had despite missing 20 games. 42 homers, 104 RBIs. McGwire is a 6-time All-Star. His 20th homer of the year made him the 5th fastest player to reach that plateau. Jim Caldwell will remember this Christmas season as the one he wrapped up the head coaching position at Wake Forest. WGPH-TV has reported that Caldwell, a Penn State assistant coach, will replace Bill Dooley and become the first black football coach in the ACC. The Holiday Bowl season kicks off Christmas Day with Kansas taking on BYU in the Aloha Bowl in Honolulu. Kansas is 7-4 and making their first bowl appearance since 1981. BYU is 8-4. They'll start their 4th quarterback of the season. Tom Young, brother of San Francisco quarterback Steve Young, gets the nod.
He has excellent quickness. He has a very good arm. He's been in the program for 3 years, and even though he hasn't played, he knows assignments. He knows what to do.
Second-ranked Alabama's defense may be without leading tackle Michael Rodgers New Year's Day when they tackled top-ranked Miami in the Sugar Bowl. Rodgers suffered a concussion and a serious auto accident. He's listed in fair condition. The NBA took the night off, but the league office did some last-minute finding before closing shop. Detroit's Bill Laimbeer is on everybody's wish list. Laimbeer is $6,500 lighter in the wallet after this fight with Charlotte's Alonzo Mourning. Zoe has docked $5,000 for his part in the brawl. Steve Wrigley, CNN, Headline Sports.
This is CNN Headline News.
This is an effort to reach men and women who served in the United States Armed Forces. It concerns benefits reserved exclusively for honorably discharged veterans aged 30 to 75. Please use the toll-free number to respond. Call now for free information on a veterans-only life insurance plan that costs just $1 a week. When you qualify, you lock in the highest possible benefit amount available to you. These veterans' life insurance benefits are guaranteed never to go down. You are eligible if you served during peacetime or war, active duty or reserves, or any branch of service. Call now, and you'll also get a free guide to veterans' benefits that explains government benefits you may be entitled to collect. Only veterans, their spouses, and widows aged 30 to 75 qualify for this exclusive offer. Term life insurance for just $1 a week. Don't wait. Call this toll-free number now for your free information and free guide to veterans' benefits from Veterans Life Insurance Company.
Retired TV news anchorman Walter Cronkite's considering a new role. The New York Daily News reports Mr. Cronkite has been offered a recurring role on the hit TV show Murphy Brown. He made a guest appearance once in 1989. Cronkite's spokeswoman confirms the offer, but no decision has been made. And that's the way it is. At the box office, the Muppet Christmas Carol's doing brisk business. Meanwhile, back at Muppet headquarters, things may be a bit more hectic than Santa's workshop. Bill Tesh reports.
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, it's gotten colder.
Yeah.
And the bookkeeping staff would like to have an extra shovel full of coal for the fire.
We can't do the bookkeeping. Yeah, all of our pens have turned to inksicles.
As director of the Muppet Christmas Carol, Brian Henson called the shots from behind the camera. But these days, Henson is calling the shots from the boardroom as well. It was he who took over the reins of the Muppet world after his father's sudden death in 1990.
I had the same sort of background as my father, but years earlier. I'm a director, puppeteer, and that's the same sort of thing my father did. And it made sense for me to take over because that continuity, I do try very hard to manage and work the same way my father did.
For a while, things were quiet at the building known as the Muppet Townhouse, but that's all changed. And it's not just because it took time to regroup after the loss of Jim Henson, but also because a proposed merger with the Disney company fell through. Although there's a working relationship with the Big Mouse, Kermit and his friends are staying independent.
What we found was we had a creative development list of projects that no longer made sense because they were about integrating us into Disney. And so when we decided to stay an independent company, we sort of had to start from scratch and find a whole new list of projects.
It's about time. Do you think you could find a part for me?
They include, to name a few, a live-action puppetry and animation series called Dog City, airing on the Fox network. On ABC, City Kids, which will introduce some new Muppets when it premieres early in 1993. And on the heels of the Muppet Christmas Carol will come Pinocchio for the big screen. And a film version of the Broadway hit Into the Woods.
Those are the two main film projects that are furthest along. We have a lot of other projects that are in, various stages.
So it's no wonder the Muppets these days have something to sing about.
There's magic in the air this evening, magic in the air. The world is at her best, when people love and care. The promise of excitement is one the night will keep. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas.
Bill Tush, CNN Entertainment News, New York.
According to Christmas legend, animals in the manger were the first to see the Christ child. So New York Central Presbyterian Church commemorates that tale every year. On Christmas Eve, it blesses all sorts of animals, even stuffed ones, and their owners. If Santa needs some new little helpers this year, he may find some willing participants at a hospital in Houston. Hospital workers dressed the newborn babies in Christmas costumes Thursday and took some snapshots. No doubt parents, even old St. Nick looking on from wherever he may happen to be, will be mightily impressed. We'll have the day's top stories at the top of the hour. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Goodnow. Around the world in 30 minutes. This is CNN Headline News.